Is this robot ready to keep your house clean? Let's check it out. Dave Taylor here, trying to keep my house clean with this. This is the DSER RoboGeek 21T robot vacuum model R3760, and it's pretty darn nice. First thing you'll notice is it's very thin. It's actually less than 3 inches tall, 2.83 inches tall, 13-inch diameter, so it's basically like, I don't know, like a big dinner plate. And it just zips around, goes underneath things, and does everything you need from a vacuum. Now, comes with things like Boundary Tape. This is this heavy magnetic tape. And you can put this down in zones where you want it not to go past. For example, where we have our cat litter and cat food, we have this on the ground so that it automatically says, oh, that's beyond my boundary, and it just bounces basically and comes back. So one interesting thing about these is that they're really heavy. You can also buy these directly and separately. So if you need to block off the top of a staircase or something, but here's what's cool, is this, like all of these devices, has all sorts of edge and cliff sensors and stuff. So before I tell you some specs, let's have a little fun. I'm gonna run this on the table, see how it goes, right? So here it is, zipping along, trying to vacuum my table. Obviously I've sped it up a little bit, and then I'm gonna go ahead and push the button on the remote, and then we're gonna get it to go back into the dock. Let's see how that works. Nice job, RoboGeek. So let me tell you a little bit about it. So it is 1600 pascals of sucking power, which is pretty decent. And one thing I think is really cool is they have what they call boost gen. So if it encounters an environment where it needs more suction, it can kick up to a higher level just temporarily. I found it does that in like thicker carpet areas. And you can hear it goes from sort of a whatever frequency it's at, and it just sort of goes up a little bit, and then it goes back down to where it was. Now, on the remote, which I find a little complicated, but on the remote, there's also a max button, so you can automatically have it be on maximum vacuum the whole time. Now, comes with 2 of these boundary strips. One of them I already have in use. It is self-charging, so when it gets low, it will find its charging base included, and it will go and charge. It runs about 100 minutes on a single charge. It's plenty of time for a lot of houses and a lot of environments. Charging stations, pretty straightforward. All of these basically look the same. There's a plug in the back. There's something you plug into the wall. There's a little sensor light. And this one, because it has a remote, has a stand for the remote, so you ostensibly don't lose it. It is a little inconvenient to have this down at the floor, but it's easy enough to pick up and work with. Now, let's zoom in just a little bit so you can see what's going on with the remote. Like I said, it does give you a lot of functionality, including, direct remote control, so that you can actually go a little bit this way, a little bit that way. And they also have a spiral mode. If you want to spot clean an area, it'll spiral out and then spiral back in and really work on that area. Kind of cool. I wish that the remote had tiny labels because I get kind of confused between icons, but that's okay because there's an app, right? Now, the app also gives you access to a schedule, and I love these sort of things. You can start it remotely. All of this is so cool. So you can, for example, what I do is when I'm taking my dog for a walk, then as we step out the door, I start this thing, go for a nice long walk, come back, it's on its charging base, it's vacuumed my house without me being involved. Now, how well does it do? Well, let's see. I vacuumed basically once. So let's see how much dirt it's picked up. So this is the dirt bin or dust bin. It's 600 milliliters, so it's a decent size. And one thing I think they've done really nicely is it also has a filter on it, and that's accessible right off the top. And it in fact comes with an extra filter, which is nice. So you have the filter you can access from the top, and then the dustbin itself. So this is one cleaning, right? That's pretty darn impressive. It's really zipped around and picked up a lot of dirt and dust. I mean, ew. Now, this comes of having a dog and 3 cats, so there's just so much environmental dirt. So I have this thing run every day or two, and it does a very nice job, easy to work with. Put it back in. got a little bit of dust that came out, but let me give you a quick tour. So there's 2 buttons on the front that give you the ability to do things like pause or say go back to home, or if you're walking past, you can just poke it with your toe and it'll just start vacuuming. Easy. And then on the bottom, you have the roller, and then that's really where all the action's happening. So the roller pulls in whatever it gets, and then it goes into the dustbin through that filter. So you don't have then a lot of dust kicking up as it zips around. The wheels come in and out. There's these 2 little spinny brushes, and it comes with 2 spares because these do tend to get a little dinged up, particularly from my cats who love these things. As you saw in the earlier video, I just love these robot vacuums. There's the front, and then there's the charging plates, and then there's this 3 different sensors. And as you saw in the earlier video, it does a really pretty phenomenal job of making sure that it's not going to fall off of that cliff, which means if you're vacuuming upstairs, it's not going to fall down your stairs. That's a good thing. You don't want it broken, right? So what else can I tell you about it? Also comes with some ties. It comes with some sticky tape. Comes with a cleaning device because, yeah, that roller gets a little yucky. So all of this comes with, oh, and one really nice thing is give them feedback. And at least in the version I had, there was a card that will give me another one of these filters, and 4 more of these just for giving them feedback. So that's a nice backup, and I would do that before you forget, because you will eventually get these a little grimy, a little grungy, things will be a little torn up, and it'll be nice to switch to something new and then keep things nice and clean. So on its quietest mode, it's only running at 58 decibels, which is pretty darn quiet, which means you can have a nap or you can have the baby sleep while this thing very quietly goes around on the floor and picks up any dust or dirt. Obviously, it'll work on hardwoods or tiles as well as carpet. If you have a super thick shag carpet, then it's not the 80s anymore or the 70s. Time to replace it probably, but I don't think this is going to work with a thick shag carpet. So if you're going to use this to clean Graceland, sorry Elvis, it's not going to work. Otherwise, it seems to work great. And there's a way you can pair it with your Alexa or Google Home. I haven't done that because I don't really understand why I would want that functionality. But if you want to just say, hey Google, go ahead and turn on that vacuum cleaner and then have it start, then this can do that. Really all I've got. I like it. It works really well. So only thing left to talk about is the price. But before we get to the price, I'm going to ask if you can go ahead and subscribe to my channel. It's just a little button. Click it. I really appreciate that. Cool. Now, this is kind of a commodity. There are a ton of these robot vacuum cleaners, like on Amazon.com, for example. But this one, I will say, having used it and having tried it in my home in a fairly complicated environment, it did a very good job, and you saw it collected a ton of dust over just a single pass through my house. So that's really nice. So this is one worth checking out. This is the DSER RoboGeek 21T robot vacuum model R3760, and it's $239.99 at Amazon.com. If you're sick of vacuuming and you just really can't stand it and you don't have anyone in the house that you can foist that chore on, then you have a robot you can foist the chore on, and it will work happily forever. So that is definitely a win. And with that, I'm going to get this guy back to work, which means I'll catch you in my next video.